have to tell you, I think this has gone too far. You know, the whole Jesus is Lord thing with Kamala and telling them they're from a different rally. Well, there was the same people saying something on J.D. Vance's, and he said, you're right, Christ is Lord. Jesus is Lord. Here's the thing, though. Kamala went to a church yesterday, and again, you'll never believe what happened at a so-called church. Now, she shouldn't have been let in the church because, again, she stands for nothing morally obligated, of course, to a Christian church. But we're going to talk about what she said. Also, we're going to talk about a Democrat strategist, a Democrat donor who just gave major warning to the country and actually said he's voting for Trump. Not only that, we're going to talk about Target and how they issue a warning about the economy. It's amazing how much we know and how bad this economy is, and no one wants to talk about it because they want to support Kamala. Mainstream media is not going to talk about how actual bad the economy is. But when billionaires like Warren Buffett take money out, when you hear Target executives mention these kind of things, when you hear Democratic strategists say these things like Kamala's bad and that we need to look for Trump to help us, the writing's on the wall, people. Let's dive into these stories today because some of them are eye-opening. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. It does mean the world to us, and we humbly ask that you do that. Especially if you like the content, please share to other members of your family or friends so that way we can all gain a common knowledge and wisdom as we try to navigate this crazy world that we live in. Now, there was another situation that happened with Kamala. Before we talk about her rally, though, at a church that shouldn't have been there, I want to go back to what J.D. Vance had at his rally. 48 hours after Kamala said to the young boy, this ain't your rally, basically stating that when he said Jesus is Lord, and she said this rally must be not for you, she's trying to backtrack on that now, and we'll go over that. But listen what happened to J.D. Vance. Someone just yelled, Jesus is King at J.D. Vance's rally. You know what his response was? That's right, Jesus is King. Now, does that mean he's the saint? No, but there's two differences right there in front of you. For all the people who claim to call themselves Christians and support Kamala, you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm calling you out. I'm shaming you right now. Are we all perfect? No. But there is two differences in the election that's going on. Two polarized differences. One that supports the movement of Christ. One that actually denounces the movement of Christ. You don't believe it? Listen to this. So Kamala trying to backtrack on what she said at that event and trying to get back to her roots, which is a complete and utter farce and such a political hack and lie. She went to this church. All right, so she goes to this church. They're all fawning over the lady who is a liberal who says you can execute a baby just about any time, who stands for the rights against the Bible, who actually does not have one thing in common with biblical teaching. Listen to what happens. Anti-abortion activist was forcefully thrown out of the church as Kamala Harris delivered a cringeworthy attempt to pander to Christians in Georgia. Now, let's talk about this. This is where I'm struggling, and this is where I think this is going way too far. This is going way too far. I hate anybody pandering to Christians. I really do. I think a lot of people are false when they say stuff like, you know, that they believe Jesus is Lord. I mean, don't be wrong. I hope that J.D. Vance does believe that. But this is the kind of stuff I can't stand right here. You walk into a church. Now, Republicans tend to not go into churches and do campaign events. It seems like it's always Democrats. It is always African-American churches because what they're trying to do is pander to religion. So she goes into this church, and first of all, the church is allowing this lady to speak, someone who does not actually believe in Christ, to speak, and has no biblical belief in her campaign slogans and in the platform of the Democrats. Then on top of that, someone who is an anti-abortion advocate, which is someone who would believe the Bible, gets kicked out of the church. Now the sad thing is she was kicked out by probably Kamala people, but not only that, the church didn't support her. So I'll be honest with you, this is no church. If this church is willing to throw people out who are speaking up for children's rights, but then again, allowing this person who has no belief in Christ to actually stand up and have the podium? Where have we gotten as a society? So she was thrown out of the church while the other side was saying, yes, Jesus is king. So for all these Christian, speakers and messengers, not the ones that are true conservatives, but the ones that are now coming out that they support Harris, especially all these ones that are on the big platforms and stages and liked by the legacy media, you should be ashamed of yourself. I wish you wouldn't even wear the name badge of Christian if you're going to support a platform that does not believe in anything of morals and values of the Christian church. I'll be honest with you. Was Trump funny the other day at the Catholic fundraiser? Yeah, he was funny. But again, we're sitting at a Catholic fundraiser, and Chuck Schumer and some of the biggest Democrats, Letitia James, are sitting there. And I know it's in fun and in jest, but they don't have the thought pattern of believing morally obligated and value-centered voting, and their platform does not even support anything of a Christ movement. Why would any church support this, and why are we allowing this to happen? If we're really Christians and we really want to seek Christ, it's no longer about playing politics. It's about proclaiming truth. Just like I heard a minister the other day, Matt Chandler. I actually liked Matt Chandler, but after he made the comments the other day about how he was trying to, really all he was trying to do was justify both sides being evil. Well, both sides are evil. But you have to say there's one side that is supporting freedom and liberty and allowing Christ followers to keep believing like they believe. The other side is throwing them in jail for speaking at abortion clinics, or simply throwing them out or telling them they're not allowed to be at the rallies. That's an easy choice. So I think this is a serious issue, and I don't believe no one's touching it enough. I believe Christian leaders right now should be standing up in arms saying, vote Trump. Honest truth. There should be no other answer, and there should be no one supporting any other platform. Because again, no matter what you think of Trump, look at the Republican platform and how they support the freedom movement. And again, religious beliefs such as Christianity. Democrats have not done that. And to me, anybody that's supporting Democrat, you cannot call yourself a Christian. I'm sorry it had to be said. Now, that's just my soapbox for the day. Now let's go on to two more stories. I want to really hone in on these two because these are serious, because again, everybody covers them up. Bill Ackman is a Democratic donor, was a Democratic strategist, a lifelong Democrat, a billionaire who has never supported a Republican. I want you to listen. He wrote this huge thought pattern. A thought pattern that I thought was absolutely huge. It says, longtime Democrat Bill Ackman fires off a dire warning to America. He says the Democratic Party, now this is his party, kind of like RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, all these people that were once just thought of as the best Democrats in the world now are pushing away from this party. That shows this party has moved away from the values of typical Americans and to the leftists and the people who are not in normal thinking patterns here. Listen to this. Ackman drops several things that are examples of how Democrats are wanting to destroy America from within. Open borders, unvetted immigrants. Inflationary spending, rising deficit, meaning they're wanting more people to come in the country. They just allowed 12,000 more Lebanese in. Rising deficits, they are spending more than any other administration. In the last just few weeks, they've had $500 billion added to the deficit, not just in spending, but to the deficit in debt. Chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal, there's tons of loss of life, and still no apologies for the bad withdrawal from the Biden-Harris administration. Excessive regulation stifling businesses, meaning they're wanting to go up on your taxes, wanting to go up on your regulation to hurt you more. Look how much they're trying to tie up people like Elon Musk and even Google into lawsuits while they'll allow anyone who preaches leftism to go free. George Soros just bought all those radio stations. Not one time did the SEC step in. Not one time did they say that this was too big and that he had too much power. No, not monopolized when George does it. But when everybody else does it, it's wrong. Release of violent criminals without bail. Decriminalizing shoplifting, promoting lawlessness. Did you know that Trump was completely right when he told David Murrow the other day in the debate that crime is up? He said, and then Dave Murrow said, like, oh, FBI is against it. They just revised their numbers. Did go back and look at their numbers. That shows that crime and theft has went up by 5%. And that's not even the crime that they quit talking about, like the shoplifting under $1,000 that they've taken off. So it shows we are living in a topsy-turvy world where morals and values does not even matter anymore to this establishment party. DEI ideology is dividing society. Did you see the video trending right now where the military DEI person, basically she was this black woman trying to jump in the water. They're supposed to jump in with their gear in a pool and swim. She couldn't do it, so they let her go. They let her not do it. But she's still now in the military. This is what we're doing. We're ruining America by allowing this kind of stuff to take place. Anti-fracking policies, meaning your energy costs more. My energy has went up extreme amounts this last year, in the last 3 or 4 years. Wouldn't it be nice to have cheap gas again, $1.87, $2? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to have an energy bill that wasn't monopolized by a company because they have the rights to do whatever? It's amazing how, again, the government will not step on the energy cost companies. The energy companies cost. Did you know, like for instance, in our area, there's no competition. You have one energy provider, and if you don't use them, then you won't have power. That's why we need to go back to a better energy policy under Republicans than the Democrats. Supports of riots, school closures because of the pandemic, gender fluidity in education where they can say what they believe your children wants to be and hold it from you as parents, and then take your kids away for not affirming it. Convincing minority youth that they are victims. I mean, we've made such a victimhood to where people won't rise above. We're not making strong men anymore. We're making weak boys. We're not making girls that can grow up and want a strong prince, and want the American dream. No, we're making them to be feminist. This is what the Democratic Party has done. Inadequate protection for alternative candidates. Think about what they did with RFK and with Trump. Think about how they've done that. They're banning gas-powered cars and stoves. They want you all on the grid. Removing terrorists from watch lists. Instead of telling you that they're in your country, they're removing them off the list so you won't know that they're actually in this country and they shouldn't be here. Not only are they here illegally, but they're here to cause harm. And we've taken them off the list. The Department of Homeland Security, that's the name, Homeland Security, has allowed these people into your country. That's not Homeland Security, is it? Now that's just a few things. And he has a list of 33. You need to go look at them because they're all completely true. That why would anybody support this? So the first part was the moral and value obligations of Christians. Why are you supporting this? Now let's talk about the fiscal obligations of why you want to support this. Let's talk about the fact of, the way you raise your children and having freedom. Why would you want to support this? Now let's go to the last stories because it's all on economics. Former Target exec, dire warning before Christmas. Dire warning issued. He says Americans do not have money. He said U.S. corporations will struggle during this season. This is when most retailers make their money, is the last quarter of the year. And he said, I'm scared we're going to see major fallout, especially as it comes to the first year, till they come to the slow time again to start 2025. And most of them are going to be belly up because they cannot afford to keep on going when Americans can't spend money from October to December. He said from really Thanksgiving all the way to Christmas is the best time for any business, especially when they're in retail. And this is a Target executive saying this. Someone who worked as the main players that ran business, multi-billion-dollar businesses. And he's saying if Americans can't afford it, then these retailers cannot keep it going. They depend on Christmas season. Sadly, we've made Christmas about merchandising and probably not about what it needs to be, but there's nothing wrong with giving gifts. But the sad thing is people don't have money anymore to give gifts. So therefore, these retailers are going to struggle. He said that you'll see store closures. You'll also see mom and pops not be able to float the next year, especially when all of a sudden they could not have a good 2024 ending. What this proves is this economy is faltering. And you know who's to blame? I love when they say turn the page. Let me be clear. Well, let's be clear. Kamala has been at the helm for the last almost 4 years now. She can blame and say all this stuff about Trump. Well, Trump's been running. Did you see that the other day on Fox News where she said, well, we've been in charge, but he's been running and talking about this for however many years. What does that matter? You're incompetent, Kamala. Again, I go back to these statistics. If America is so bad, why do we blame Trump or why do we blame the Republicans when out of the last 16 years, only 4 of those years have been under Republican rule, and we didn't have any new wars and our economy was as best as it's ever been. But the other 12 years of the last 16 years has been under Democratic rule. It's funny how they want to turn the page and blame Trump when Obama, Biden, Harris has caused this issue. It's kind of like when these Democratic cities blame Trump and blame the Republicans for how bad they are when they've not been under Republican rule for so long. Why are people not waking up to this? Now, this was a rant this morning because I'll be honest with you, I get tired of it. I don't think I'm sorry, but I just want you to be honest. Think for yourself. Don't call yourself a Christian if you're going to vote Kamala because the morals and values don't line up. Don't call yourself someone who wants to see America thrive if you're going to vote for Kamala because she's allowing all these people to come in across your border. Don't think their economy is doing any better when you have executives telling you how bad it is. Walmart has come out. Home Depot has come out. Target has come out. Saying the same things. Big Lots closed. Dollar General's closing stores. I mean, does this not tell you that this economy is terrible? But no, they're allowing Kamala to go in and speak before a church and kick people out who don't believe like her. They're allowing her just to say what she wants to say and no one fact check her. Well, I'm done. It's got to be said. We've got to quit passing the buck and quit acting like, well, it's just, things happen and it'll happen. It is what it is. I hear that all the time. No, it's time to be proactive, awake, and start paying attention and start telling people what truth is. Because when we tell them the hard reality and truth, they'll start seeing it and start realizing it for their own self and get their head out of the sand and start voting for, again, freedom. And again, prosperity, because we don't have that right now. Why would anybody want higher energy costs, more debt, no money, can't afford the groceries, and we want all of that? Why would anybody want that? More war? Well, that's what you're getting if you elect Kamala to be president. To be honest with you, when all these people come out, especially these elected officials come out and they try to support her, to me it shows how dumbfounded they are, how much they've been bought out, or what the question is, what do they have on these people? Did you notice Usher, pre-Diddy going to prison, or pre-Diddy getting busted, he never actually came out and supported Kamala. After Diddy goes, man, Usher's dancing at the Kamala rallies. It's all fluff, people. When she has to have a celebrity with her everywhere she goes, that shows that she is nothing. They're just there for the accolades and the entertainment. But when you talk substantive, and you talk information, and you talk about what's truth, she has no leg to stand on. Guys, give me your thoughts on this video. Again, sorry to rant this morning, but some of this stuff has to be said, and I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of all these leaders getting up and kind of, soft-footing around these things, and they need to talk about the real issues and how if you're someone who supports godly movements and morals and values, don't tell me you're supporting a Democrat, because it's impossible. Guys, let me know your thoughts, and again, hopefully I didn't offend you too much, but to be honest with you, sometimes things have to be said. God bless.